was that personal experience like?
Well, obviously when it happened, I wasn't thrilled. It was quite shocking, but it put me in a situation that I had to think hard of what my real passion in life was and who I wanted to be. So it shocked my system, and that made me decide to start my own business.
How many years ago was that? When were you fired?
18 years ago when I
Did you
started
cry?
the business. I didn't, because I was not a very good employee, and
I deserved it.
I should see that coming, and I wasn't passionate for my job in banking, and when you're not passionate about something, it shows. So I wasn't happy, but I wasn't surprised.
Also in the book you talk about some of the many challenges that you faced. Can you talk to us about some challenges and how you overcame them?
The biggest challenge that I didn't realize was the hard work it takes and how lonely it is when you start a business. When I started, I had a back room at home, which was the size of where we're sitting here.
What?
Tiny.
Say it again, sorry, just in case no one...
So I started from a back room at home,
okay, yeah.
which was the size of our two chairs together. And I had tons of boxes and little bottles, and I was doing everything myself, from dealing with the orders to coming up with product ideas, packing, calling the stores, even going to the stores and selling. And I think a lot of people don't realize that starting a business is not necessarily a glamorous exercise. It's very manual. It's manual work, and it takes a lot of determination. It takes a lot of effort and hard work. And the glamorous elements will come later, but the beginning is not very glamorous.
Yeah, something terrible that's happened to you along the way.
I had a very embarrassing moment that was very early on. That was probably year 2. We were hosting an event in Harvey Nichols in London, and I needed to produce some material, some brochures. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to save some money. I'm not going to go to a commercial printer. I'm going to go on Vistaprint online and typed everything myself, printed it, took the materials, dirty cheap, nothing. And one of the customers comes to me and says, Maria, there's a typo in this brochure. I wanted to die. It was horrible. So I was on a budget at the beginning, but then at the end of the day, the lesson learned is sometimes you have to pay a little bit extra to get quality work, which I learned my lesson.
Yeah, not to rush things. And can you tell us some advice on the best way to sort of handle or overcome rejection? This can be romantic, but specifically tonight, perhaps just business-minded stuff.
Well, every time I get a no in life, for me this is a challenge, and I want to turn it into a yes. It drives me to work harder. I remember the first couple of years I had in mind a specific department store that I wanted to work with. I was emailing them, I was sending them product, I would follow up, and they would either not respond to my messages or send me an email saying, we're sorry, Mrs. Hatzistefanis, we don't have a space for you. And
did they typo your name?
They spelled it correctly.
Okay, great.
And so, at the beginning I was sad. I was thinking, would take it personally. But then along the way I learned that rejection sometimes doesn't necessarily have to do with you or your product. It may be that the fit is not right, they have other priorities in their business. But then I kept on trying, I kept on calling, and a few years later we ended up launching with them, which was really exciting. But it did take about 8 years of rejection to get there. So that's a lesson learned. I remember when I was 14 years old, back in Greece, where I'm from, a tiny island where we didn't even have a beauty store. I was getting ready to go out with a girlfriend of mine, and we needed blush. And we didn't have blush, so I took a can of Nivea cream and I mixed it up with lipstick. And that was 20 years ago. I've created the first ever, not 20, but more than 20, but the first ever blush. And that was one of the many times that I put together a beauty product, and that made me really excited. So I always had a passion for beauty. Now, after I got fired from my banking job, I was looking at the beauty market and thinking, oh my God, everything is boring. There's definitely a need for something a little bit more targeted, and I wanted to come up with a range that would offer targeted treatments to specific skin concerns. But I also wanted to come up with cool names and cool ingredients and luxury packaging. And I was thinking, there has to be a way that I can disrupt the beauty industry, like, what Balenciaga did for fashion. I would love to do that for beauty and come up with something really cool. So I had the idea, and the backroom story, and then everything else is history.
At the beginning of that, you mentioned the moisturizing thing. I'm really stopping myself from telling a story, but it's like keeps coming out. That at Christmas, I was at my mum and dad's house, and my sister, I said, does anyone have any concealer? Because I've forgotten my makeup kit. And my sister said, oh yeah, I just use nappy cream to make it go a bit whiter there. I was like, what are you? So anyway, if you could pop around my sister's house and give us some expert advice, that would be much appreciated for next Christmas. What was your first big break?
Snake serum is the product that put us on the map.
Right.
This is about year 5 of running the business, and we've moved into a proper office, which it was about the size of the stage. It wasn't much bigger, and I had 3 staff at the time. So we sat down at the boardroom, which was this size, and we're looking at the new product launches. We had a serum that just arrived from the lab, and it was an anti-aging serum. And I wanted to come up with something exciting with it because it was really boring. Went through the ingredients, and one of the ingredients related to viper venom. So I thought, and I told my team, let's call it snake serum. And they said, are you crazy? We can't do that. So we kept on talking, and I got them excited, and we said, okay, let's do this. We made the product black, we took it to a studio, we had some snakes around it, we did a photo shoot, and it went viral. And suddenly we were getting calls from all over the world, from Japan, from Germany, and people were asking about this crazy snake serum, and we're shipping pallets of it within weeks. And that was the first product that put Rodial on the map.
Amazing. And now, of course, you're at which you've stopped and kind of surveyed the landscape of your achievements and thought, you know what, I've made it.
There are days that I say we're doing really well, and days that I feel like this girl who just got fired from banking. So it goes, it can be up and down. But I think a moment that I really felt proud about the business and what I achieved was when we opened our first counter and sculpting bar in Harvey Nichols in London. And seeing the brand in such a big scale next to brands like Chanel, Estee Lauder, Tom Ford, it made me feel really proud that, we made it.
Do you sometimes stop by there just to survey people and see how they're reacting?
I love
You're
that.
like dressed in a
that's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to go back to the counter. That's where it all started.
Right.
I do spend days with my team. I sell to customers, even though I'm not that good at it. But selling face to face. And I just enjoy the energy from the counter. We get a lot of product ideas from the team, from people there. So it's where the life starts with Rodial. It's the sales floor.
Yeah, I would say be prepared for everyone else's emotions. I didn't think about emotions when I started a business. I was like, this will be fun. I'll make clothes, and then everyone's crying. There's like stuff going on.
I know. Yeah.
Like you haven't. What's going on in here?
It's your team is the most important thing in this business. Whatever you do, the people who you surround yourself with are the most important. And people have emotions, and good or bad ones, and you have to deal with them whenever they come to you. But I do think, as I mentioned before, the shocking element for me that people need to know is that having your own business is not very glamorous. So you have to start your own business for the right reasons.
Yeah, I keep going into work and thinking it is going to be glamorous, and I'm like, oh man, if only people could see this. But okay, so I'm being told to wrap it up, but just quickly, could you give 3 quick tips for success?
My first tip would be focus on your goals, but always have a plan B on how to get there. Tip number 2, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you'll get the biggest rewards from the biggest risks. Tip number 3, always look your best. When you look your best, you will be more confident, and that will help you achieve your goals.
Very nice. Thank you so much.